William Foster looked out the viewport as the transport ship approached the massive council station. The structure floated in space near Proxima Centauri, its ring-shaped body glittering with thousands of lights. William took a deep breath. After years of negotiations, Earth had finally been granted a seat on the Galactic Council, and somehow he had been chosen to fill it. "Nervous?" asked Samantha Hughes, the woman who had served as Earth's observer for the past year. She would be returning home now that William was taking over as the official representative. Terrified, William admitted. He was a mid-level diplomat from the American delegation, not the seasoned ambassador everyone had expected would get this assignment. "I still don't understand why they picked me." Samantha smiled. "Because you can read people better than anyone else. You spot lies before they're even finished being told." William shrugged. His ability to sense deception and navigate social complexities had always seemed like a basic skill to him, nothing special. But his superiors had insisted it would be valuable in dealing with 30 different alien species, each with their own agendas. The ship docked with a gentle bump. William gathered his things and followed Samantha through the airlock and into the station. The gravity felt slightly lighter than Earth's, and the air carried strange, unfamiliar scents. "I need to brief you before your first meeting," Samantha said, leading him to the human quarters. Once inside, she closed the door and checked a small device that scanned for listening devices. "There's something you should know. The council isn't what it appears to be." William sat down. "What do you mean?" "On the surface, everything runs properly. Votes are held. Agreements are made. Disputes are settled. But I've noticed patterns over the past year." Samantha lowered her voice. "Species that once voted independently now move in blocks. Representatives who used to speak freely now stay silent. And several of them seem afraid during closed sessions." "Afraid of what?" William asked. "I don't know. But watch the Drell representatives carefully. They're one of the founding species, and the others defer to them in ways that don't make sense." William frowned. "Do you have any proof of wrongdoing?" "Nothing concrete, just observations." Samantha looked tired. "Maybe I'm being paranoid. Just keep your eyes open." The next morning, William attended his first official council meeting. The chamber was enormous, with seats arranged in a semicircle around a central speaking platform. Representatives from 30 different species filled the room, some humanoid, others completely alien in form. William took his seat at the position marked for Earth, feeling very small and very human. The meeting proceeded much as Samantha had described. Procedural votes were taken. Trade agreements were discussed. Territorial disputes were addressed with formal language and careful diplomacy. Everything seemed normal, but William found himself watching the Drell representatives as Samantha had suggested. The tall, gray-skinned aliens spoke little but somehow seemed to be at the center of everything. When the session ended, William gathered his notes and headed back toward the human quarters. He took a wrong turn in the unfamiliar corridors and found himself in a quiet hallway far from the main chambers. Voices drifted from around a corner. William slowed his steps. "The human must not be allowed access to the inner sessions," a voice hissed. "Their kind asks too many questions." "It will be handled," another voice replied. "Like the others." William froze. He carefully peered around the corner and saw 2 Drell representatives looming over a smaller alien he recognized as the Vexaran diplomat. The Vexaran was trembling, its 4 arms pressed close to its body in what seemed like a defensive posture. "You understand your instructions?" one of the Drell asked. The Vexaran nodded quickly. "I understand. I will vote as directed." William pulled back, his heart pounding. He waited until the voices faded, then hurried back to his quarters by another route. Samantha's warnings echoed in his mind. Something was indeed happening behind the council doors, something that went far beyond normal politics, and somehow he needed to find out what it was. William spent the next week watching and learning. He quickly discovered that the public council meetings were just for show. The real decisions happened elsewhere, in private chambers, back hallways, and exclusive lounges where Earth had no access. During a refreshment break, William noticed a woman-like alien with pale blue skin sitting alone. He recognized her as Laura Martinez, the representative from the Arcturus Federation. Her species had joined the Council 50 years ago, making them the second newest members after humans. William approached her table. "Mind if I join you?" Laura gestured to the empty seat. "The newest member seeks out the second newest." "Smart move." "I'm still figuring things out," William said. "The official meetings seem meaningless." Laura laughed softly. "You noticed that already. Most representatives take months to catch on." She leaned forward. "The real council doesn't meet in that big fancy chamber. It meets in private, where Earth has no seat." "Why even let us join, then?" William asked. Image. Having humans at the table makes the council look inclusive and progressive. Laura sipped her drink. "The founding species, the Drell, Korvax, and Shire, they run everything. The rest of us are just decoration." William thought about the Drell he had seen threatening the Vexaran diplomat. "Is it always that way?" "For the 50 years my people have been members, yes." Laura studied him with large, dark eyes. "You seem different from the other humans who visited. More perceptive." "I notice things," William admitted. "It's why they sent me." "Then notice this," Laura said. "Watch how the votes happen before they happen. Watch who speaks and who stays silent. Most importantly, watch who's afraid." Over the next few days, William worked to secure invitations to some of the less exclusive private gatherings. A reception in the Korvax ambassador's quarters, a cultural exchange in the station's garden dome, a small policy discussion in one of the station's observation lounges. At each event he watched carefully. He noticed how the Drell representatives always seemed to know how votes would turn out before they happened. He noticed how representatives from 7 different species all used the same phrases when discussing certain topics, as if reading from a script. Most troubling was what happened during a resource allocation discussion. William, trying to be helpful, made a suggestion about distributing mining rights more evenly among newer council members. The moment he spoke, the Korvax representative looked physically pained, their face contorting. A Drell diplomat leaned over and whispered something, and immediately the Korvax relaxed and continued as if nothing had happened. William returned to his quarters and recorded everything he had observed. He was sure now that something strange was happening, some form of control or coercion. But he had no proof and no allies powerful enough to help. He was preparing for bed when his secure terminal chimed. A message appeared on the screen. "Human, if you wish to learn the truth about the Council, meet me at Observation Deck 7, midnight station time. Come alone." William stared at the message. It could be a trap. But it might also be his only chance to learn what was really happening. He checked the small defensive tool Earth had provided him. A simple device that could create a protective field for a few seconds in an emergency. Not much, but better than nothing. At 5 minutes to midnight, William made his way to Observation Deck 7. The deck was deserted this late, with only the emergency lights casting a dim glow. The vast window showed a breathtaking view of Proxima Centauri and the surrounding space. William stood alone, watching the stars and waiting. At exactly midnight, he heard soft footsteps behind him. "Do not turn around yet," a voice whispered. "First, I must be sure you are not one of them." "One of who?" William asked, keeping his back to the speaker. "One of the controlled." The voice was low and raspy. "There are fewer free minds on this station than you might think, human." William felt a chill run down his spine. "And how do you know I'm free?" "Because the Drell cannot yet control humans. That is why your presence is both an opportunity and a danger." The speaker moved closer. "Now you may turn and see who risks everything to speak with you." William turned slowly and found himself face to face with a Shire, one of the founding council species. The alien's large eyes blinked slowly in the dim light. "My name is Kren," the Shire said, and I am about to tell you what really happens behind the council doors. Kren led William to a small alcove at the far end of the observation deck. The Shiur moved carefully, constantly checking for others. His large eyes reflected the starlight as he turned to William. I am an aide to one of the Shiur representatives, Kren said. What I am about to tell you will put us both in danger. William nodded. I've seen enough to know something is wrong with the council. Wrong. Kren made a soft clicking sound that might have been a laugh. The entire council is a puppet show, and the Drell pulled the strings. Kren explained that decades ago, the Drell had introduced what they called diplomatic assistance devices to help with translation and cultural understanding. These small implants were supposed to help representatives better understand each other and avoid misunderstandings. But the technology was never just for translation, Kren said. The Drell modified it over time. Now it allows them to influence, and eventually control, the minds of those who wear the devices. William felt cold. Are you saying they can control other representatives? Not just can. Do. Kren's voice was bitter. It began with subtle influence. A representative would feel more positive about Drell proposals. They would find themselves agreeing more often. By the time anyone realized what was happening, it was too late. Too many key positions were already compromised. How do you know this? William asked. The Shiur discovered it 15 years ago. We noticed changes in our representatives after they received the newer models of the translation devices. One of our scientists examined a device and found neural control components. Kren's long fingers trembled. We tried to speak out, but by then, the Drell had already gained control of too many council members. So the Shiur are fighting against this. Kren made a sad gesture. We try, but we are few. 2 of our 3 representatives have already been forced to accept the devices. Only a handful of us remain free, working in secret. What about the other founding species? The Korvax. Fully controlled. They were the first the Drell targeted. Kren reached into a pocket and pulled out a small device. This can detect the neural signatures of controlled individuals. Take it. William accepted the device. Why give this to me? Because humans are new to the council. Your neurology is different enough that their current technology cannot easily be adapted to control you. This gives us a small window of opportunity. Kren pressed a button on the device. Scan now. See for yourself. William activated the scanner. A small display showed dots of light representing nearby life forms. Most glowed with a red haze around them. The red indicators show neural tampering, Kren explained. Out of all representatives and staff on this station, over 60% show signs of control, including 2 of the 3 Shiur representatives. William stared at the display in horror. They're planning to do this to humans too. Yes, that is why you were invited to join the council. The Drell want access to Earth's resources and population. They need to study human neurology first to adapt their technology. William's mind raced with the implications. Earth had no idea what it had walked into. We need to warn my planet. Yes, but carefully. The Drell monitor all official communications. Kren suddenly stiffened. Someone is coming. I must go. The Shiur slipped the scanner back into William's hand and hurried away, disappearing into a service corridor. Moments later, William heard footsteps approaching. He pocketed the scanner and tried to look casual, gazing out at the stars. Representative Foster, a cool voice said. William turned to see a council security officer, one of the insectoid Verax species. Just enjoying the view, William said with a smile. This area is restricted during night cycle, the officer said. Please return to your quarters. William nodded. Of course, my mistake. As he walked back toward his quarters, William noticed the security officer following at a distance. He took a few random turns, and the officer still followed. He was being watched. In his room, William checked the scanner again. Almost everyone around him was compromised. He was surrounded by people being controlled by the Drell. And now that he knew the truth, he was in danger. William needed to contact Earth, but how? As he considered his options, he noticed a small blinking light on his communications terminal. Someone was trying to reach him through an encrypted channel. When he accepted the connection, a familiar face appeared. Laura Martinez from the Arcturus Federation. Her expression was grim. "They know you met with Kren," she said without greeting. "You need to be careful. We don't have much time." William stared at Laura's image on the screen. "How did you know about Kren?" "Because I work with him," Laura said. "There are more of us than you think, but still not enough. The Drell have eyes everywhere. We need to get you somewhere safe to talk." "My room is secure. Earth technicians swept it for bugs," William said. Laura shook her head. "Not secure enough. Meet me at Maintenance Shaft 12, Level 3. 20 minutes. The screen went dark. William checked the scanner again. The red dots were moving in the hallway outside his room. He was being watched, maybe surrounded. He needed a distraction. Using his room terminal, William scheduled an early morning meeting request with 3 different ambassadors. As notifications went out, he slipped from his room and moved quickly down the service corridors he had memorized during his first days on the station. When William reached Maintenance Shaft 12, Laura was waiting with another human he didn't recognize. The man wore an Earth military uniform with captain's insignia. "This is Captain Stephen Boyd," Laura said. "He arrived on the supply ship today." Captain Boyd nodded. "Ambassador Foster, Earth sent me as soon as we got your encrypted message." William blinked in confusion. "I didn't send any message." "Not yet," Laura said with a small smile. "But you will. Time works differently here near the edge of Council space. Sometimes cause follows effect." Before William could ask what she meant, Boyd handed him a small device. "This will let you send a secure message directly to Earth Military Command, bypassing the Council communication systems." William took the device. "I need to warn them about the mind control technology." "Yes," Laura said. "And you need to ask for help. Specific help." Over the next hour, William composed and sent a detailed message to Earth, explaining everything he had learned about the Drell control technology. Following Laura's advice, he requested a specific team be sent: a neurologist, an intelligence operative, and a military strategist. "The Drell won't try to control you yet," Laura explained. "Human neurology is different enough that they need more time to adapt their technology. This gives Earth a small advantage, but we must use it quickly." 3 days later, a small Earth ship docked at the station. It brought supplies, diplomatic mail, and 3 specialists: Dr. Olivia King, a leading neurologist; Agent Derek Powell, an intelligence operative; and Captain Patricia Vance, a military strategist. William met them in a secure room in the Earth section of the station. After scanning for listening devices, he explained everything he had learned. "So the Drell can control minds," Captain Vance said, her face grim. "Can we block the signal?" Dr. King studied the scanner Kren had given William. "Maybe. If I can understand how it works, I might be able to create a countermeasure." "What about their infrastructure?" Agent Powell asked. "Every control system has weaknesses." William spread out a station map. "The main communication hub is here, on Level 7. But it's heavily guarded." "We don't need to destroy it," Powell said. "Just understand it. Give me 2 days." The team worked quickly. Dr. King discovered that human brain patterns were different enough from most Council species that the current Drell technology couldn't easily control humans. This explained why they hadn't moved against William yet. Captain Vance developed emergency plans in case they needed to leave the station quickly. Agent Powell mapped the Council's security systems, finding several weaknesses they could exploit if needed. Most importantly, Dr. King built a small device that could temporarily disrupt the neural control signals. "It won't free someone permanently," she explained, "but it might give them back their minds for a few minutes." They decided to test it on someone who was definitely under control. William suggested the Arcturan diplomat he had seen acting strangely during Council sessions. Using Powell's intelligence skills, they arranged a private meeting with the Arcturan diplomat. Dr. King activated the disruption device as they talked about trade agreements. The Arcturan's eyes suddenly widened. His posture changed completely. He looked around in confusion, then focused on William. "Who are you? What's happening to me?" His voice sounded different, more natural. "You're being controlled by the Drell," William said quickly. "We've temporarily blocked the signal." The Arcturan diplomat grabbed William's arm. "Listen carefully. I don't have much time. The Drell are planning something big at the next council session. Something about Earth." His eyes rolled back. "Integration program. Cultural exchange. It's how they start the control process." Then the Arcturan diplomat straightened up. His face became placid again. The control had reasserted itself. He continued their conversation about trade, as if nothing had happened. William and his team left quickly. They had confirmation now, and a warning about what was coming next. The Grand Council chamber filled with representatives from 30 species across the galaxy. William sat at the Earth position, appearing calm despite the tension he felt. Dr. King, Agent Powell, and Captain Vance were stationed strategically around the chamber, disguised as Earth diplomatic aides. Today was the vote on a seemingly innocent proposal, the cultural exchange program between Earth and the Drell. The program would place Drell advisors in key positions on Earth. William now understood this was their first step toward infiltrating Earth with their control technology. The head Drell representative, Ambassador Zoran, stood at the central podium. His gray skin shimmered under the lights as he spoke about friendship and cooperation between species. His words sounded noble, but William noticed how the controlled representatives nodded in perfect unison. William checked his communicator. Everyone was in position. Dr. King had improved the disruption device, making it powerful enough to temporarily free most of the controlled representatives in the chamber. Captain Vance had disabled the security protocols that would allow the Drell to lock down the room. Agent Powell was ready to broadcast evidence of the mind control to all Council species. As Ambassador Zoran finished his speech, he smiled. "The vote will now begin on Resolution 359, establishing the cultural exchange program with Earth." William gave the signal. Dr. King activated the disruption device. The effect was immediate and dramatic. Across the chamber, representatives jerked as if waking from sleep. Some stood up in confusion. Others looked around with clear eyes for the first time in years. The red haze that William could see through Kren's scanner faded from dozens of minds. Before the Drell could react, William stood and approached the central podium. "Esteemed representatives, I apologize for this disruption, but it is necessary. For too long, many of you have not been yourselves." William held up the scanner, modified by Dr. King to project its readings for all to see. "This device shows who in this chamber is under neural control and who is free. Look around you. More than half of this council has been mentally enslaved by the Drell." Chaos erupted in the chamber. The Drell representatives rushed toward control panels, but found them locked. Ambassador Zoran shouted for security, but Vance's team had redirected them to a false emergency elsewhere on the station. "I have evidence," William continued, his voice cutting through the noise. "The Drell have been using their translation devices to control the minds of council members. Their votes, their words, even their thoughts have been directed by Drell controllers." On the large screens around the chamber, Agent Powell displayed scans of the control devices, neural patterns showing interference, and recordings of controlled representatives before and after the disruption field activated. A Volith representative, one of the few species naturally resistant to the control technology, stood up. "I have suspected something was wrong for years. The voting patterns were too perfect, too many unanimous decisions." Others joined in, those temporarily freed from control expressing shock and anger at what had been done to them. William could see the panic on the faces of the Drell representatives as their secret was exposed. Ambassador Zoran finally managed to reach a working communication panel. His composed diplomatic mask fell away, revealing cold anger. "Security override. Lock down the chamber immediately. The doors began to close, but Agent Powell had anticipated this. His fingers flew over his control pad, blocking the override command. The doors remained open. Zoran turned to face the chamber, his eyes burning with an intensity William hadn't seen before. "You fools. Do you think this council could function without our guidance? Before we implemented our neural assistance program, this body was paralyzed by petty disputes and endless debate." The chamber fell silent at this confession. Zoran continued, his voice proud rather than apologetic. "Without our guidance, this council would have collapsed under the weight of its own petty squabbles. We created peace." William stepped forward. "You created the illusion of peace through enslavement. That's not diplomacy. That's tyranny wearing a diplomatic uniform." The Drell ambassador stared at William with hatred. "And what would humans know of galactic governance? You're children playing in a realm of adults." "We know freedom," William replied. "We know that true cooperation comes from choice, not control." The disruption field began to flicker. Dr. King signaled to William that they were running out of time. Soon, the controlled representatives would fall back under Drell influence. William faced the chamber. "The evidence has been sent to all your homeworlds. Earth stands against this control. Who will stand with us?" Hands began to raise throughout the chamber, those who were naturally resistant to control, and those temporarily freed. But as the disruption field weakened, William could see the confusion returning to many faces. The red haze reappeared on the scanner. Time was running out. The council session ended in disorder. As the disruption field faded completely, the controlled representatives returned to their Drell-guided state. The brief moment of clarity and outrage vanished from their faces, replaced by calm obedience. William and his team retreated to the Earth section of the station. They had exposed the truth, but the Drell still held power over too many council members. "That went about as well as expected," Captain Vance said, checking the security feeds. "The Drell are already calling for sanctions against Earth." Dr. King nodded. "And they're claiming our disruption device caused harm to council members. They're saying we attacked them." Agent Powell looked up from his communication terminal. "It's worse. They've passed an emergency measure restricting Earth ships and trade. We're diplomatically isolated." William wasn't surprised. "How many allies do we have?" "Not many," Powell replied. "The Voliths support us because they're naturally immune to the control. The Tholians too. A few others who are out of range of the control technology. But most species are still under Drell influence." "So what now?" Dr. King asked. "We can't fight the entire council." William stared at the station map on the wall. "No, but we can fight smarter. The Drell control the council, but they don't control the people of those worlds yet. What if we told everyone?" Captain Vance smiled slowly, bypassed the official channels. "I like it." They worked through the night. Using Powell's intelligence skills, they hacked into the council's communication network. Instead of targeting official government channels, they sent their evidence directly to public networks on every council world. The transmission included plans for Kren's detection device and Dr. King's countermeasure technology. Anyone with basic technical skills could build versions of both. They added a simple message: "Your leaders are not your own. Build these devices. See the truth. Free yourselves." The Drell tried to block the transmissions, but Powell had anticipated this. He bounced the signal through dozens of relay stations, making it impossible to stop completely. Within days, the effects began. Reports filtered in from across council space of citizens testing the technology and discovering their leaders had been compromised. Underground resistance movements formed on multiple planets. The Drell responded with force, dropping all pretense of being benevolent leaders. Meanwhile, on the council station, William and his team faced increasing danger. Security forces loyal to the Drell tried to arrest them twice. Both times, they escaped using Captain Vance's tactical knowledge of the station. "We can't stay here much longer," Vance warned after their second escape. They'll lock down the entire Earth section soon. As if on cue, alarms blared. Red lights flashed in the corridors. Station security alert. A voice announced over the speakers. All personnel must remain in their quarters. Dangerous fugitives have been detected in Section 14. That's us, Powell said, checking his scanner. And they're not lying about the dangerous part. There's a kill squad heading this way. William made a quick decision. We need to leave the station. Contact the Volith ambassador. Their species is immune to Drell control. They might help us. Powell sent the message while the others gathered essential supplies. Minutes later, they slipped out through maintenance tunnels as Drell security forces broke into the Earth section. The Volith ambassador, a tall being with translucent skin that revealed a complex nervous system underneath, met them at a small docking bay. My shuttle is ready, the ambassador said. Your actions have finally confirmed what many of us suspected. The Volith will grant you sanctuary. As they boarded the shuttle, William looked back at the council station. What had begun as a diplomatic mission had turned into open rebellion against mind control. Earth was now cut off from council space, labeled as dangerous disruptors. What do we do now? Dr. King asked as the shuttle pulled away. We build a resistance, William said firmly. The Drell have had decades to spread their control. We won't undo that in a day. But every mind we free weakens their hold. The shuttle accelerated toward the Volith ship waiting at a safe distance. The Council may have rejected us, Captain Vance said, but they've also revealed their true nature to the galaxy. William nodded. And that's the first step to real freedom. The Drell wanted to control humanity. Instead, they gave us a cause to fight for. As the shuttle docked with the Volith ship, William looked back at the glittering council station one last time. This wasn't the end. It was just the beginning of a new kind of interstellar diplomacy. One fought not with words in grand chambers, but with the truth in the hearts and minds of people across the galaxy. 6 months passed. William stood at the viewport of the Volith command ship, watching stars stream by as they traveled to another meeting with resistance leaders. The galaxy had changed dramatically since their escape from the council station. Latest reports from the resistance network, Laura said, handing him a datapad. She had escaped the station days after they had and joined their growing movement. William scanned the information. Multiple worlds had overthrown their Drell-controlled leadership. Dr. King had improved the countermeasure technology, creating a version that could permanently free individuals from Drell control, though it couldn't undo all the neural damage from years of manipulation. The Arcturans have fully liberated their homeworld, William noted with satisfaction. That's the third major species this month. And Earth? Laura asked. Still holding strong. The Drell blockade hasn't broken our planet's resolve. Earth had quickly built defenses after William's warning. When Drell ships arrived, they found a unified planet ready to resist control. Captain Vance entered the room. The Council has officially split. 3 factions now. The Drell-controlled bloc, our Free Council allies, and those trying to stay neutral. Neutral won't be an option much longer, William said. The Drell are dropping all pretense of peaceful governance. Reports had come in of Drell warships attacking worlds that had freed themselves. They now openly claimed their control was necessary for galactic stability. Any species that rejected their guidance was declared dangerous and subject to pacification. Agent Powell joined them, his face grim. We've intercepted Drell communications. They're planning a major offensive against Earth. They see humanity as the source of the rebellion. In a way, they're right, Laura said. Human resistance to control inspired others. William had seen this across the galaxy. Despite Earth's technological disadvantages compared to older Council species, humans had become central to the resistance. Their natural immunity to current Drell control methods and experience with fighting against overwhelming odds made them valuable allies. Human military advisors now trained resistance fighters across multiple species. Human scientists worked with alien counterparts to develop better countermeasures against Drell technology. What had begun as Earth's diplomatic isolation had become Earth's finest hour. "The Free Council representatives are ready for you," the Volithade announced. William nodded and followed the aide to the ship's conference room. Representatives from 12 formerly controlled species waited around a large table. Some William recognized from the council, others were new leaders who had risen during the resistance. "The situation grows worse," said the Tholian representative, a crystalline being who shimmered in the light. "The Drell fleet has destroyed 3 liberated worlds already. We cannot match their military strength," added the new Arcturian leader, "even with all our ships combined." William listened to their fears. The resistance had won important victories, but the Drell still controlled the majority of Council space, and they were willing to destroy any world that rejected their control. "We need a different approach," William said finally. "Fighting the Drell directly plays to their strengths. They'd been preparing for this possibility for centuries." "What do you suggest?" asked the Volith ambassador. William brought up a star chart showing a region far from Council space. "There is another power in this galaxy, one even the Drell respect and fear: the Ancestral Court." Murmurs spread through the room. The Ancestral Court was almost mythical, a council of the oldest sentient species who had withdrawn from regular interstellar politics centuries ago. "They haven't interfered in council matters for 700 years, Laura said. "Because they haven't been asked properly," William replied. "The court was created as a final safeguard against exactly this kind of situation, one species trying to dominate all others. The Drell would never agree to bring this before the Ancestral Court," the Tholian representative pointed out. "They don't need to agree," William said. "Any 3 species can petition the court in cases involving threats to galactic freedom. We have 12 in this room." The representatives exchanged looks. Hope began to replace despair in their expressions. "It won't be easy," William cautioned. "The journey to the court's domain is dangerous. The Drell will do everything to stop us. But if we succeed, we bring our evidence before a power even they must respect." "And if we fail?" asked the Arcturian. William's face was determined. "Then we'll have lost nothing but time. The fight will continue either way." One by one, the representatives nodded their agreement. "Then it's decided," William said. "We're going to the Ancestral Court." The journey to the domain of the Ancestral Court took 2 months. Twice, Drell warships attacked their small fleet. Both times, they escaped thanks to Captain Vance's tactical brilliance and the sacrifice of brave pilots who drew enemy fire. Now William stood with representatives from the Free Council before massive doors carved from what looked like a single piece of dark stone. The court's domain was built inside an ancient asteroid, orbiting a neutron star far from the busy lanes of galactic travel. "Are you ready?" Laura asked quietly. William nodded. After everything they had experienced, after all the fighting and loss, this moment would determine if their struggle had meaning. The doors opened silently. Light spilled out, not harsh but somehow deep, as if it came from very far away. William led the delegation inside. The chamber beyond was vast, with a ceiling so high it vanished in shadows. 7 beings waited for them, each different from any species William had seen before. These were the Ancestrals, species so old they had watched stars die and be reborn. A tall being of shifting light stepped forward. "I am the voice of the Coril. We have observed your approach. You petitioned the Ancestral Court." William bowed respectfully. "We do. Earth and the Free Council bring evidence of violation of the ancient compact. The Drell use neural control technology to enslave other species and rule through them." "A serious charge," said another being, this one seemingly made of crystal and flowing energy that William recognized as a Zen. "Show us your evidence." For the next hour, William and the representatives presented everything they had gathered. Kren's scanner data, Dr. King's analysis of the control technology, testimony from freed representatives, records of Drell attacks on liberated worlds. The Ancestrals listened in silence. Their faces, those that had faces, showed no emotion William could read. When they finished, the voice of the Coril spoke again. "We will consider. Wait outside." The delegation was led to a small chamber where they waited anxiously. No one spoke much. There was nothing left to say. They had done everything possible. 3 hours later, they were called back. The Ancestrals had been joined by 3 more beings. One was clearly a Drell, though he looked uncomfortable and angry. "We have reached judgment," the voice announced. "The evidence is clear. The Drell have violated the compact that prohibits species from controlling the minds of others. This cannot stand." The Coril turned to the Drell representative. "Your governance structure will be dismantled. Your control technology destroyed. Your species will be placed under observation for 1,000 years. The Drell representative protested, but his voice died when the Zin raised a crystalline hand. "This is not the first time a species has attempted to control the Council," the Zin said. "It is why we created the Ancestral Court, as a final safeguard against such tyranny." The voice of the Coril turned to William. "There is more you should know. We allowed humanity's admission to the Council despite Drell opposition. Our predictive models suggested humans possessed qualities that made them most likely to detect and resist control methods." "What qualities?" William asked. "Adaptability, suspicion of authority, innovative problem-solving," the voice explained. "In truth, your species was not invited to join the Council. You were invited to save it." William felt a chill run through him. The implications were enormous. The Ancestrals had seen this coming, had planned for it. The Zin spoke again. "The Council will be restructured with new safeguards. Technologies to detect neural manipulation will become standard. Earth and its allies will have expanded roles in the new system." As the details were explained, William thought about everything that had happened since he first arrived at the Council station. The journey from Maeve diplomat to revolutionary leader had been long and hard. Many had been lost along the way. Later, as they prepared to return to Council space with the ancestral judgment, Laura found William staring out at the neutron star. "What are you thinking?" she asked. "About what makes us human," William replied. "The Coril said our suspicion of authority helped save the galaxy. On Earth, we often see that as a flaw. Our politics are messy because we question everything. And now," William smiled, "now I see it was our greatest strength. The courage to ask what really happens behind closed doors." Their ship departed the next day, carrying the ancestral judgment that would reshape galactic politics. As William watched the neutron star fade in the distance, he knew the true work was just beginning. Freedom required constant vigilance. That was the lesson humanity would bring to the stars.